These 25 tips will help you improve more in Chapter 5 Season 2 of Fortnite in order to win more games. Knowing little ins and outs about the games that other players might not know or stuff about new mechanics is super advantageous. Make sure to stick around for the entire video because although you may know some of these tips, you probably don't know all of them. And subscribe if you're not yet subscribed down below for more Fortnite tips in the future. This is part of a win series, weekly improvements now. This is part 1 of a 4-part video series where we're going to be giving you over 100 zero build Fortnite tips for Chapter 5 Season 2. Let's get right into it. First tip here today comes into your drop spots. You want to be landing for gold chests in Fortnite. These give you guaranteed better loot and heals, so it gives you a really good competitive advantage for whenever landing on the map. Tip number 2 is loot every single gold chest. The fact that these give you rare tier loot means they're better than every other chest in the game, so you want to be finding out where all of these chests are and always be looting them. Tip number 3 here is don't dive bomb when you want to do a simple landing if people are nearby. Dive bombing freezes you mid-air and causes delay, so you don't want to be doing this. Tip number 4, you want to be learning your new guns more off spawn. If you don't know how to use all of the new guns and you land on one off spawn and it's your only option in the fight, you're going to lose that fight if you've never used it before. Although you may not like all the new guns, getting really comfortable with them is really important in any battle royale game. I said this one myself in my YouTube live stream. Make sure you subscribe down below to catch more of them in the future. Using new items to get used to them is really important, because if you land on a gun and it's the only option you got and you've never used it before, you're probably going to lose that fight. Tip number 5, if you've recently just heard a crown and the zone hasn't closed, because crowns ring when zone closes, or if you see it on your visual audio, it means someone has just been taken out. This means it's prime time to third party someone as they've just had a fight and are probably weak, so always rotate to those crowns if circle hasn't closed. Tip number 6 is use unbreakable structures for cover if someone is using a Zeus mythic towards you. This is great even if you're just getting sprayed at or someone's using a sniper. Unbreakable structures means they can't take damage, so it doesn't matter how much the person does damage to it, you're always going to have cover with this item. Do note if someone has height above you, they can always throw a cluster clinger or use the Zeus mythic to shoot you in the back, so make sure you only do this when someone's directly in front of you. This also works great with reboot vans as you can't break them. This ties into the next tip here is be careful on the edge of breakable structures. So you can also use breakable structures as cover when someone's using a Zeus mythic. However, if you're too close on the edge of this and it does seem like you're in cover, the game can still register you doing damage even though you're clearly in cover. So just be careful not to be too close on the edge, otherwise you still might be taking damage. This has been in the game for a little while now, but you want to be moving while healing. I still see a lot of players not doing this. While healing in Fortnite, if people have visual audio on, they can see this on their screen and are more inclined to push you. Moving while healing means you're not going to be in a spot where you're just worth fighting, so where people might be rotating to because they heard a sound. Also, it's going to be harder for people to track you who are using visual audio. Tip number 9, the medallion meta. Medallions are super overpowered this season, more so than last season. Yes, they may not heal you anymore, but you want to be getting them all and using them all as much as possible. They all grant special effects and we'll be going over these in future videos. Pick them up. They're great to use, definitely worth being shown on the map. Next tip here is you want to be using the Underworld Skulls, aka the Underworld Dash, aka the reskinned 0 point effect mid-fight. Using this in fights means it's a lot harder for the enemy opponent to track you, and you're more likely to win the fight because your movement is unpredictable. Next one ties into bunkers. Bunkers are really hard to push at the moment if someone is down them. Now you should only be pushing bunkers with either cluster grenades or EMPs, so throwing them on the edge where someone might be hiding so you can push down, or with a car. It's not worth pushing down this standalone because if someone picks the corner with a sniper or they start spraying you with a shotgun, they have cover and you don't, and you're a lot less likely to win. These next few tie into that previous tip. Now, if you do have a car, pushing down to the bunker with it can result in a 50-50, so it might not be favorable if you're not great at switching seats and jumping in and out of cars really fast. So if you don't want to risk that, a great thing to do is to be patient. Being patient outside of these bunkers means that the person in the bunker is probably going to lose patience and want to rotate out eventually. Now you can get sniped while being patient outside of these, so if you do have a vehicle, best to sit in the passenger seat of these so it doesn't show up on visual audio of where you are. When you see the person start running up the stairs, just to spray them out. The next one here is push bots if you always have a free chance to. This removes distractions from future fights because bots can be super distracting mid-fight, making it harder to focus on a real enemy player. I started doing this last season and I started winning a lot more games because of it, so you should try it too. The next one here is in regard to height, especially in zero build. Don't camp height unless you have wings or you have skulls. And the reason for this is if someone lands on you with wings and you're on height and they knock you off the mountain, you're just going to die fall damage. So with wings, you can save yourself like this person did in this clip, or if you have underworld skulls, you can dash at the last minute and cancel out that fall damage. Our next tip here is you want to be spraying people with wings. It only takes 50 damage to send them towards the ground. Their hitbox is a lot bigger, so hitting them out of the sky is super easy, and also really easy to get a full kill of if you hit those shots. Next one here is a bit obvious, but a lot of people still miss this, is you want to be looting every single weapon case. It doesn't matter if you don't want the item or if you've already got the best items, this drops ammo. The more ammo you have, the less likely you are to run out. Definitely worth it. Next one ties into mod benches. You can mod weapons now from bunkers which spawn in at zone 3. A total of 6 of these will spawn in, and there's a total of 9 of them around the map, so not all of them always spawn in. But if you don't have mythics, because you can't mod mythics, you always want to be modding and upgrading your gun when it comes to zone 3, so you can have something that's more preferable and more overpowered in order to verse people. The next one here is only use the Zeus mythic to third party. The Zeus mythic can be overpowered, but typically not in zero build of Fortnite. It leaves you too wide and out in the open, so when using the Zeus mythic, you want to only do this when other people are fighting because it's easy free damage. When it comes to the wings, it can be super easy to die while using these, so the best time to use them is off spawn. This is because people are healing up and are looking for other loot, so you're less likely to get sprayed out of the air. If you loot a gold chest and you get wings, you can quickly fly to the next gold chest without it being a major issue because people are less likely to be peeking out at you. This is a classic one, but ping heals. If you're not carrying heals, or if you know where there's more heals are at, you want to ping where they are on the map, not ping the heals individually. This is because if you ping them individually, this timer can expire. Pinging them on the map means it always stays there. If you get low from another fight and you don't have heals, you can rotate back to that spot and get heals. Next one here comes into changes for supply drops. A lot of players still don't know this, but you can spawn supply drops in. There's a brand new mechanic in order to do this. This is super advantageous, especially if you're low on heals, or if you just want to know where heals are going to be later on in the game, like the previous tip. You can mark this on the map after you open it and rotate to it later. When it comes to the new Gatekeeper shotgun, you want to be using this in the 20-meter range. This is where it deals the best amount of damage and has the least amount of drop off. So make sure you get comfortable and familiar with what this distance is. You can definitely practice this out while waiting to load into a game from pinging where someone is standing. Something you always want to be doing is landing for mythics. Mythics are super overpowered this season, so you always want to be landing at one of these 4 locations if you want to win more games. Yes, it's going to be a lot harder off spawn, but the more fights you take in any battle royale game, the better that you can get. Make sure when you lose a fight, just think about what you could have done better previously or what you shouldn't have done, so the next time a similar fight occurs, you don't fall for the same mistakes. Medkit, don't need, shotgun. And the reason I don't pick up the medkit right away, chat, is because if we get pushed or someone like contests my drop, they're just going to take me out because they have a gun and I don't. So always go for guns first. Being aware of seasonal changes. So last season in Fortnite, you couldn't move while taking fruits or vegetables as heals, and this season you can. Great update, but not knowing this means you might be standing still that otherwise you could be doing that will help you out in the long run, stopping you from getting rotated on, like I was talking about before, healing while moving. Lastly comes into loadouts. If you don't know what guns to carry in zero build of Fortnite, I got a video on that. Check that video out if you haven't yet already. Subscribe down below for the next 25 tips coming out next week. And as always, take care of yourselves. Bye.